Welcome back, watchers. So we were looking back at the trailer for Godzilla King of Monsters, and we're picking apart more of the scenes. Mainly the one with Madison in that surveillance room that is probably one of the Monarch outposts. At first glance, we thought that the monster behind her was Godzilla, but upon closer inspection, we realized that it looks significantly different. And we also noticed that behind the main head there seemed to be another. If you look closely, you can actually make out the eye of this creature, which matches the one that is closest to the glass. Being that this creature has an identical head right next to it leads us to believe that this is none other than Ghidorah. It is possible that this scene correlates with the last one we see where Millie Bobby Brown's character is outside in the rain. Maybe it is at this very moment Ghidorah is awakened. However, at this scene, Madison is seen wearing a winter coat with a hoodie underneath with a neon zipper and several layers. In the scene with Mothra and her larvae form, Madison is seen wearing her regular hoodie with the blue interior and the white shirt with the red line across the collar. Bet you didn't notice that this is the same shirt that one of the kids was wearing in the family photo. The person with the hat on could be Madison, and her sibling could either be a big brother or sister who seems to be wearing that very shirt, which would lead us to believe that it was her older sibling that died, and she simply is wearing the shirt that was being worn in the picture by her sibling as memorabilia. Otherwise, her little sister died, and that's just a shirt she's always worn. The shirt, that is. However, we believe it makes sense either way. Although they do make it a point to put the focus on the little girl, she's more in the center of the photo than the older sibling, which probably means that the little girl is actually Madison. And even though the older sibling is somewhat androgynous, they make it a point to put a little girl in the photo that is obviously a little girl. So chances are the little girl is Maddie and her older brother is who died, and she's wearing his shirt. Also, in another picture to the left, we see that same little boy or little girl, and based on the picture on the left, it looks like it's a little boy wearing the same shirt. That leads us to believe that was actually her brother, because on the far right, we can see the picture of the little girl, and usually the way these family photos are set up is that each child takes its own place on the display. Simply put, if they had a picture of Maddie on the right, they wouldn't be redundant in having a picture of her on the left when they have two children. Also, very symbolic here, when the light flashes off, we can see that the pictures were illuminated, but as the light flashes off, or when the place gets dark, notice how the picture to the left darkens. All the other pictures are still in view and are very visible, but the one with the little boy is dark. This further leads us to believe that this is in fact a sibling that has died, and they were just making a symbolic show of the way they shot this by darkening that picture and leaving the rest illuminated. In the scene where Maddie is saying that someone is a monster, probably her mom, she's wearing the same hoodie with a blue interior. Now check this out. In the scene with Ghidorah staring through the glass, she's wearing the hoodie but with a dark gray shirt with either an orange undershirt or an orange interior of that dark gray shirt. Check it out. In the opening scene, she's wearing that same attire. Dark gray shirt, orange undershirt. Maybe this scene right here took place before she went into the building. The reason why all of this is important is because it helps us to get an idea as to when events took place. In the scenes where she's wearing the same outfit, this tells us that it was all happening in that space of time. Now check out the last scene. Although soaking wet, it is very clear that Madison is wearing her hoodie with that dark gray shirt. That means this scene took place around the same time as the one where she met Ghidorah face to face. The theory is that right after Ghidorah saw her through the building, she tried to escape from him as she started fleeing outside, which we saw in another scene. The destruction, which we can clearly see in her background, was the result of Ghidorah based on what we see. This little smile right here that she gives at the end only means that she has a confidence that Ghidorah is about to get his ass handed to him. And as said before in other videos, the only thing that could make her smile like this is if she believes that she's about to be rescued by something equally as powerful. This is probably Mothra. The trailer is probably trying to mislead us by showing us Godzilla in the very next frame. In a previous scene, we saw the military fighter jets flying overhead of Madison in that very last scene where she was seen smirking. Now, we know that the military fighter jets were following Godzilla, so it could have been Godzilla at that scene as well, but being that Madison seems to have a connection with Mothra, it makes us think that it's possible it might have been Mothra at that moment that showed up at that point in time. Maybe initially Mothra will be able to stave off Ghidorah before being defeated herself. So how do you guys feel about Ghidorah's design? And we know that this is Ghidorah, because clearly the profile of this monster is more narrow than that of Godzilla's, and it has orange eyes. We know that that monster clearly wasn't Godzilla, not only because, well, there are two heads there, but if you look at the top of Godzilla's head, his head is very flat. He has a very short stub-nosed snout and very pronounced brow ridges. Meanwhile, this creature clearly has a longer face and has several protrusions on the top of its head. Not to mention, again, there are more than one head. Let us know how you guys feel about Ghidorah's design in the comments, and thanks for watching. This has been Altiori. You ask, we answer.